Welcome to another episode of the Money Wheel Podcast. The journey to wealth starts here with your host, Don Shade.
Hello, my friend and future millionaire. Welcome to this episode of the Money Wheel. My name is Don Shade. Now, since the beginning of the year, I've been walking you through how to build your $1 million a year roadmap. Notice how most of the changes started with you. Now, we started out looking at what your dream lifestyle and your dream business is going to look like. And then we got into putting together a dream board. And the reason we did that stuff is because that is the end destination. That is where you want to be. All the goals that you have and the dreams that you and your family want are on that dream board. I needed you to see the prize before we started putting the work in. The next thing we looked at was, let's look at your number one excuse and the kind of stuff that stops you. And we covered a little bit of mindset stuff and move forward from there. Now, here's what I'm going to get into on this episode. As we build your $1 million roadmap, what you'll notice, all the information you see from me and all the posts they're kind of like a quick hit and get out. I prove a fast point, something to make you think, and then we move forward. And that's what we're going to continue to do throughout the year. With all that being said, what I want you to focus on today, I want you to be somebody who talks to everybody. Not somebody that's annoying, but I'll be honest with you, I know that everybody has a routine they go through in the morning, or you have somewhere that you stop regularly for gas, stuff like that. You deal with pretty much the same people in certain things that you do. Have you learned to communicate with those people? It doesn't have to be anything big, but just get to the point that you're talking to people every day. Hey, how you doing? Some of them are going to answer you, and some of them won't. Here's what I've learned over the last couple of years that I've been doing this. The people that you start talking to on a regular basis, when they see you, they now talk back and they're glad to see you. And what it comes down to from that, you never know when something like that is going to turn into a relationship that ends up being something in your benefit, whether it has anything to do with business or not. The one gentleman that I talk to every morning where I go for coffee, I just made sure I started striking up a conversation with him as I was going in. Now he talks to me all the time. And he also gives me a lot of free coffees just because we're friends now. I want you to think about that, and I want you to start making the doors of opportunity open for you when it comes to communicating with people. Now, I will tell you this, it takes a conscious effort to do this. After a few months, you'll be in the habit of doing it, but to be honest with you, the first couple days are kind of tough. I was somebody who didn't look people in the eye. I didn't look up whenever I walked, stuff like that. I had to make it a conscious effort for all that stuff to happen in my life. The reason I bring this up to you is because when you're making $1 million a year, you can look anybody in the eye. When I was going through the training to build my business and taking all the classes that I was taking, I didn't really do that. But I'll tell you this, the day that I walked out of that job for the last time, it changed my whole attitude, because I knew then I could look anybody in the eye and I could talk to anybody about anything, because I'd done something that most people only dream of. And through all these little short messages that we're putting together this year, we're going to teach you how to do the same thing. That's everything I have for this episode of the Money Wheel. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Money Wheel Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and like the podcast. For everything that was talked about in today's amazing show, go to moneywheelpodcast.com and get today's show notes, past episodes, and most importantly, you can connect with Don Shade on all his social media platforms. Again, at moneywheelpodcast.com. If you are just looking to email Don, you can email him at don@moneywheelpodcast.com. For a list of all our tools we use in our business, you can go to moneywheelpodcast.com/resources. Again, thank you for listening to today's podcast, and see you in our next episode of the Money Wheel Podcast.